Ashes of Creation, by all accounts, is a retirement home. This game is dominated by boomers and older gamers like me. So much so that if you are currently watching this video and you are under the age of 18, please let me know in the comments down below why Ashes of Creation appeals to you. Because from all accounts and through my metrics on YouTube, it seems like the MMORPG genre as a whole just does not appeal to people below the age of 18. So if you're under 18, let me know in the comments down below why you're interested in this game. I'm super curious. The phenomenon of MMORPGs not appealing to younger players is something that's been bothering me for a long time. This is my primary gaming genre, the genre I love the most. And it concerns me that nobody under the age of 24 gives a damn about these kind of games. And I think this is a problem for a few reasons. I think the problem is due to a few factors. But I just remember that when I started playing MMOs, there were tons of other people my age. And there were tons of, like 12-year-olds even playing the game. And, sure, they weren't good, but the age range of people playing these games used to be much, much wider. And now, when is the last time you remember playing an MMO with like somebody that's like 14 or 15? It's been probably a decade since I've even heard like a child over TeamSpeak or over Discord or any of that stuff. And that was definitely not the case in Classic WoW. In Classic WoW, I was literally the kid playing. I was 12 years old when I was playing Classic WoW, and I remember talking to like other teenagers in Ventrilo. And sure, there were older gamers as well, but damn, like what has happened? This entire genre is just older gamers now. Now, you may be thinking I'm just talking out of my ass, but I actually have the data personally to back this up. I've been making YouTube videos for 15 years, and I can just go back to my MMO videos from 2010 and see that these videos appealed to a much younger demographic. At least younger people were interested in them. I had an audience, a smaller one, that was under the age of 18. I had people that were below the age of 24 watching these videos. The genre at least appealed to younger gamers as well as older gamers. Nowadays, the data is staggering. My video talking about the Asmongold situation in Ashes of Creation had literally 0% interest and audience from people under the age of 24. That almost sounds fake, but this is not an anomaly. This is true for nearly all of my Ashes of Creation videos, as well as all of my MMORPG videos. Now, you may be thinking, oh, it's just Ashes of Creation. This game is just targeted towards these older gamers that played Lineage and Arcade. Like, this is a game made for that older generation of MMO gamers, right? Like, that's going to be the cope. Well, I hate to break it to you, but Ashes of Creation, at least according to my numbers, is actually skewing younger than World of Warcraft. If Ashes of Creation is a retirement home, World of Warcraft is a cemetery, because my World of Warcraft numbers are even more boomed out than my Ashes of Creation numbers, which is crazy. Now, I have talked about this in the past, and one point you guys brought up that was actually, really smart was that a lot of people, when they create YouTube accounts, lie about their age and say they're over the age of 18 so they can watch any video. It's just a lot more seamless. Now, I personally have never lied about being over the age of 18 in my entire time using the internet. I don't know why you would. We've been in here for 7 minutes. We should be getting a game here soon. Wow, she's got a fucking Twitch channel now? I mean, I don't know who that is. Never mind. But I'm sure people do. I'm sure there are people that lie about being over the age of 18 for whatever reason. But even then, even back then, people were doing that kind of thing. And even throughout the years, it's still skewing so much older that I just don't think that's the singular cause. So why have MMOs turned into retirement homes? Well, I think the number one cause of this is the dominance of World of Warcraft over the entire MMORPG genre. I think that World of Warcraft sucking all the oxygen out of the room when it comes to this genre has really dampened the appeal for younger players. And I have the data to back this up. Anytime I play a new MMO, like a WildStar, a New World, Guild Wars 2, whatever it may be, these games always trend younger. There's always more interest in younger players for these newer titles. I think for the sheer fact because they're new. No kid wants to jump into World of Warcraft that's a 20-year-old game and have all of the, FOMO and things they're missing out on and have to feel like they're playing 20 years of catch up to join the game, right? They want to join when it's like a fresh start, a new thing where it's new for everybody. So I think World of Warcraft just sort of dominating the genre has largely caused this. And the worst part is, a lot of these new MMOs that came out after WoW were essentially just a reskinned, remixed version of WoW. Now, I'm somebody that personally doesn't mind that. I still had fun with WildStar and SWTOR, but these were essentially the same style of game as WoW, the same game loops, the same general feel and vibe. So again, while these games did have some like more youth appeal than like World of Warcraft did itself, yeah, it's still very similar. And again, it's not shaking the pot up enough to really bring in some new blood. At this point, I think MMORPGs have become like a self-fulfilling prophecy where the pre-existing MMORPG audience basically comes from that WoW era. And those are the type of people that look forward to the next game. This is going to sound bad, but anybody that follows MMORPGs through early development and you're watching like developer live streams and, can't wait for the new article to come out talking about the new thing on this game that doesn't come out for 5 years. If you're one of these people, you are damaged. Like there's something actually wrong with you. And I am one of these people. I don't know what the phenomenon is with like MMORPG gamers, but like I'm very happy in real life. I've got a lot going good right now. Made some money over the last few years. I got a hot wife. I have a dog that's like mostly well behaved. I'm in good health. Like all things are great across the board. Super fucking awesome. But I crave an MMORPG to degen with the boys at 3 a.m. That is the one thing I don't have. I'm such a broken person that I want an MMO to come out that is so good that I actively ruin my life that I enjoy right now to play this MMO. Do you guys remember when World of Warcraft was in its prime, from 2004 to like 2010? And there were all these crazy news stories of people like abandoning their pregnant wife in labor to go play WoW, or, women sleeping with men so they could get World of Warcraft gold to buy their epic flying mount. Or that guy that shoved a remote up his ass because he couldn't play WoW.
Okay, my mom just canceled my brother's World of Warcraft account, and he is freaking out.
Nobody is shoving a remote up their ass because they can't play New World. Nobody is leaving their pregnant wife to go play Throne and Liberty. Why? Because those games fucking suck. These games, everyone knows Throne and Liberty is fucking bad. Like, it's just a bad game. And you're playing it because you're coping with the fact that there aren't any good MMOs to come out. So you're just lying to yourself and pretending it's good. Same thing with New World. It had an okay-ish combat system, but like you knew it was kind of dog shit, and you were just sort of hoping that maybe they'd pull it together. But in the back of your mind, you just sort of knew like this shit ain't gonna last long. That's how everybody has played every MMO since like WildStar, where we all got our heart ripped out, right? So now that we've established that we're all mentally ill MMORPG gamers, why do I think Ashes of Creation will be different? You know what they say the definition of insanity of is, right? Well, let's get into it. I think this game, what is wrong with us? I think this game might be different because it's genuinely pretty new. Like, it's a new concept. It's not the World of Warcraft game loop with a new set of paint. Arcage, this is like, oh my god, I just put it together. Steven Sharif himself is one of these damaged MMORPG gamers, like to the core. He was so traumatized by Arcage that he said, fuck it, I'll make my own Arcage and make it not suck. And that is what Ashes of Creation is. Oh my god. He was so traumatized by Arcage, he decided to spend tens of millions of dollars to make his own Arcage. What is wrong with us? Why? There is no other genre of game that cultivates this level of insanity. All right, back on topic. So I think Ashes of Creation stands a chance to attract new players to the MMORPG genre because, first and foremost, it's new. And not only is it new, it is not following the World of Warcraft formula of like, questing, dungeons, raids, PvP. Like, it's not following the siloed theme park MMO on rails kind of content. The next thing that I think is going to help Ashes with the younger players is that there's a lot of incentive to play the game a lot. The game has a lot of grindy elements, and elements that incentivize you to play the game a lot. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, the kids don't want to grind. They're not into that. They're into the immediate gratification. And I just don't buy that. Dude, these kids grind so hard. They grind harder than we ever grinded in the past. These are the kids that are playing multiple games with crazy battle passes that take forever. They're just not grinding in MMORPGs. So I think the kids like to grind. And what's funny is the same people that say that kids aren't ever going to be interested in MMORPGs say that, oh, I wish I could play like I did back when I was a kid. I don't think the kids have changed that much. I'm just not a believer that TikTok has literally ruined kids and they just never want to play an MMORPG again. I just think that the right MMORPG hasn't come around. And the final reason, and probably the biggest reason why I think Ashes of Creation stands a chance with younger gamers, is the drama. Kids love drama like none other. Have you ever been watching like Twitch and seen all like the crazy Twitch drama, and you're sitting there like as a 30-plus-year-old person going like, who gives a fuck? Like who cares about these fucking people? This is crazy. Why are there thousands and thousands of people that are, parasocial about this streamer? And then you realize like, oh, they're kids. Like literally Twitch's like core demographic is like literally people under the age of 18, which is why they have a whole advertising problem. Kids love video game drama. And when you're a 30-year-old guy, you can have some fun with some video game drama with guilds quarreling back and forth. But at the end of the day, you cut your computer off and you got to go to bed so you can wake up early to go to work. You're not really that interested in it. It's kind of like, you're amused by it. But when you're like a 13-year-old boy and there's some video game drama, you are a warrior for the cause. This is one of the biggest moments in your life. You are a freedom fighter, and you need to crusade against those evil villains in this video game. I think the drama element of Ashes of Creation will hopefully be able to sink its hooks into some of these younger players and get them in the MMORPG ecosystem, because the thing with MMORPGs, as you know, because you're watching this video right now, as a damaged MMORPG gamer, is that peak MMORPGs, the peak MMORPG experience is better than any other video game experience that exists, which is why there are so many people that have these fond memories of like classic WoW. Shroud, not really known as being a WoW player, but yet he's playing classic WoW. There's a reason why, classic WoW and so many of these like MMOs, they have this like magical pull. Like New World is a dead fucking game, but when it came out, there were all these people playing it. Like they're not known as MMO players, but they always, they want to check out the new MMO because it just has this pull. The genre just is magical in a way that like shooters really aren't. A new shooter comes out and you're like, that's pretty cool, I'll play it, but it's not nearly the same as a new MMO. Now, some of you guys are probably hearing this and saying, why do we care? Why do we care if younger people play Ashes of Creation? I don't want a bunch of squeakers in my game. I don't want a bunch of immature kids in my game. So here's why they're important. Now, I will concede that younger people across the board are just kind of like useless and worthless. For any industry, they're just not worth much. And I actually do appreciate you guys being boomers and being older, because quite frankly, you monetize on YouTube and through other like ads much better than other demographics. There are YouTubers that are getting a ton of views right now that you would assume are making crazy money, but in reality they aren't, because their audience is under the age of 18. Their audience isn't monetizable at all. And then you contrast this with like the sport of golf. Golf is on television all the time, but it gets very few viewers relative to all the other sports, but yet it monetizes like crazy, because the audience that watches golf is primarily rich people who have a lot of disposable income. Therefore, the ads on golf pay out the ass, which is why you see golf televised and you're wondering like, who is watching this? Well, honestly, not many people, but the people that are watching it are loaded. So what value do younger players have? Well, the number one thing younger players do is they make your game feel alive. They create a buzz around your game, because these players, while they may not be worth much monetarily, they are your most voracious, dedicated, hardcore fans. They're the ones in the streams. They're the ones creating the memes. They're the ones driving the culture, honestly being creative and doing like funny, hilarious, amusing things. Largely that kind of stuff comes from younger demographics. It's not really the 40-year-olds doing that kind of stuff. A lot of you guys that are older gamers, you just sort of, you come in, this is a hobby for you. You do it after work. You log off when it's time to go to bed because you got to get up the next morning. Things like that. You're not nearly as plugged in it's not as real for you. A real world example I can give you is college football. There are a lot of boomers still very plugged in to their college they went to through college football. These people go to college football games, spend a ton of money to be a part of that whole experience, largely not just because of the football. They may genuinely be football fans, but a lot of the fun of that experience is going back to the campus, going back to the stadium, and seeing all of the current rowdy college kids and what they're doing. And, oh, look at them being crazy and drunk. And I remember when I was, back in the 80s and the 70s, whatever, when that was me. That is part of the fun for these people. And the same thing is true for MMOs. Older players are going to be amused by younger players doing immature, weird, crazy, wacky things in the game. It just is a different energy, and I think you need to have that, as well as having the older demographic that's largely going to be paying the bills and buying the microtransaction skins and whatnot. So I'm really hopeful that this game can at least attract some demographic of younger players. That's something that just really bothers me, that the same cohort of MMO players from 10 years ago is essentially the same one that we have today. There's not new MMO players. And it needs to change, otherwise this genre will die.